Welcome to the Maximize Business Value podcast, brought to you by Mastery Partners, where our mission is to equip business owners like you to maximize your business value and achieve the exit of your dreams, whatever that means to you. With insights gained from over 100 business transactions, we share real-world strategies, lessons, and expert advice to help you build long-term, sustainable value in your business. Each episode is hosted by one of our Mastery certified partners. They're seasoned experts who've helped countless business owners navigate the complexities of growth, scaling, and building value. They bring first-hand experience, actionable insights, and a passion for helping you build a business that thrives. So let's dive in.
This episode is the second of a two-part release. To hear part one, follow the link below. Thank you for listening to the Maximize Business Value podcast.
You describe your role as creating alignment across family and business systems. And what does that process actually look like, Amy?
Oh, it's different. But I would say I use the same 3 gates that the value acceleration methodology teaches.
Yeah.
So I am coming in and doing a readiness assessment. So we call that discovery. I call it a readiness assessment. Are we ready for the transitions that are being talked about in our family system? Like, what's the health of it? Are people talking to each other? Are they having governance conversations? Do they have an employment policy? Do they have education around connectivity to the business? Where are they in the development of a family council? Do they meet? Do they have connectivity? Do they like each other outside of owning, right? And why does that matter? Well, because it helps strengthen the decision-making process, right? Have they talked to the children or the next gens about ownership, or is it a secret? What are they sharing with them, right? Those are things that we talk about. And then in the ownership system, I'm looking for, is there a united vision of why we own in each generation? Because it changes, right? And then what are our supporting documents? How do we make decisions as owners? How often are we meeting? Do we have governance? Is there cutoff behavior in the ownership group, or some not talking to the other, which I'm sure you've seen in your work?
Yep.
It happens. How many things are we owning? Are we talking about transitioning an operating company and not the land underneath it? Like, do they understand what is at the transition point? Because in my world, transitions include ownership and leadership. And the reason I'm saying that is because when you sell a business to a third party, you're giving it all up. When you do a family transition, because of the taxes structure in the United States, many families do not sell ownership. They gift it, and many of them gift it at death. So ownership doesn't transfer until someone dies. And so what really gets transferred is leadership. And then we have to talk about how does that increase in value that's produced by the new leadership team get rewarded?
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. Yeah.
And so there's like 2 things there for me. So the ownership is one part of it. Are you transferring it? I also look at if someone wants out, how do they get out? If someone wants in, how do they get in? Right?
Yep.
And then in leadership, I'm looking at the same things you do. Who's our leadership team? How old are they? Is there bench strength? What's our culture like? What are our systems like? How are we making decisions inside? Are we profitable? If we're going to bring in more family members, is it really profitable enough to bring in more family members instead of feeding 2 families and we're going to feed 9? Can it really handle it? Right.
Right.
In it, what's the marketing like? All that good stuff. I look at all that stuff. Now, the difference between what I do and what you do is you help them operate better. I say, okay, so if we're going to do a leadership transfer or here are some issues we need to address, is that addressed with family members or non-family? Do we have anything here? If we don't, we need to address it. And then I might bring in someone like you, Amy, to teach them EOS because that's not my expertise, right?
Yeah.
I'm knowing enough where we're going to have problems. And
Yeah.
usually when I'm in family firms, I hear a lot of people are being promoted because they're family members, not because they have skills.
Yeah.
And what's that doing to the company? Or we're treating family members different than when we treat non-family employees. What's that doing to the non-family employee retention?
Mhm.
How do we manage our own son? How does a brother manage another brother? How do we do accountability? That kind of stuff gets a little more sticky in my
Yes.
world, right? And
Yeah.
then we governance. So governance is like, are they only having once a year shareholder meetings? And that's the only time they're talking about ownership decisions. Are we doing operational meetings and calling it board meetings, or are we actually having board meetings?
Yeah.
And what's the difference between a shareholder meeting and an actual governance meeting, a board of advisors or a board of directors? How do we do that? Why do we do it? So I really have 4 buckets I work in.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I measure that, grade it, give it back to them in a day and a half report process and
Okay. Yeah.
workshop kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then they say, oh, we want to work here. God, don't make us talk about this yet. And then we do an action plan, just like the EPI community does. And then we do it. Then we work it.
Yeah.
And then we come back in circle, like, have we made improvements? Then we work it and we come back.
Yeah.
I'm usually around pretty heavy for 9 months to a year.
Okay.
From the very beginning, triggering event, like when we get started on that readiness assessment, to getting through a lot of the action planning. And so typically it's once a month on that time frame.
Okay.
A day. Some families are in more of a my house is on fire, I need more attention than that. I worked with one company last year. I had so much fun with these people. 2 days a month for 7 months. That's a lot. I mean, that was a very condensed, but they really needed it. They had some stuff that had to be cleaned up. And they're continuing to do some work now, but we took a break and they'll call me when they're ready to get back to the work. But they went through a ton of change in a really short time and they need to breathe.
Yeah. Nice. So speaking of timing, when is it too early to bring you in, Amy?
Never.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if you just started your business and it's a year old.
Yeah.
And you're, a new entrepreneur, I can't do much for you.
Yep.
Not much for me.
Yeah.
I would say that if you own a family business and you are in a multi-generational, like I work with some businesses where I have 3 generations working in it together. And that might mean the oldest generation's on the board and the next one's managing and like in C-suite spots. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd generation is working in mid-level management. It's not too early to bring me in to even talk to the 3rd generation's children.
Yeah.
So I have a lovely family I work with, and we meet once a year and we do a family forum, and it's a governance kind of approach. And we last summer had a 3-month-old all the way to a 92-year-old at this family forum.
Wow.
And the 3-month-old wasn't there very much, right? But they were there at the meals, and I got to see them connect and make memories. And everybody went to a factory tour, even the 3-month-old. And for the little people, they had coats and hairnets, and the employees loved it. Loved it. And they had stuffed cows for the kids. I mean, it's a food company, and they use berries, so they had little stuffed cows, and they had how milk's made, and
that's great.
That was really, so it's never really too early to expose them. And I know 3 months old sounds kind of crazy, but I worked with the 11, 12, and 13-year-old on how do you do trust. And we played Moneyball. We talked about their first money of, like, we played Foursquare. When's the first time you made money? What that like, how do you make money? What's the first thing you bought with your own money? Do you still have it versus what a gift? I mean, does that make sense? Like, you can do really fun stuff with younger kids.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So let's talk about succession and exit planning are emotional. They're not just transactional. Right?
Yes.
So What's the, going back to that business transition summit that I just spoke at, we did speak a lot on the topic of we don't tend to think about that or plan for that part of the exit planning process, the emotion part, but there is a lot of emotion tied up in it. So what's the emotional journey for the exiting generation?
Long and hard.
Yeah. Tell us more.
So, and most of my owners are not afraid of hard work. They're not. I mean,
right. That's why they're successful entrepreneurs, right? Yeah.
But this one's weird because there isn't, it's not a computer program. It's not a plastic injection molding device. It's themselves.
Yep.
And viewing your relevancy and your importance and what you do with your time and who you are and your usability and your functionability and your relevancy. It's really what we're dealing with, right? Yeah. So they all talk about, oh my gosh, it'll be so great. I won't be coming to work anymore. That's what everybody says they're going to talk about. But that's not what they talk about with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they talk about with me is I love coming here, even though I'm tired. I've been coming here my whole life. So even if I'm not going to be the head of HR anymore, I still want to come in on Sundays and work in the restaurant. Well, how is that going to work? Because there's a new HR director.
Yeah.
So how is that going to work? When people come up to you and talk to you like you're the HR director, what are you going to do? And how do you let go of your opinions in your 30 years of experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? So, it's really hard. And that's what we talk about. And we talk about finding new roles. Like if you're going to keep ownership, what's it mean just to be an owner and not working there?
Yeah. Where sit in the owner's box. Yeah.
Right. But how does that work? What are your boundaries? What are your responsibilities? What can't you do anymore?
Yeah.
Right. And it is a process. A lot of them I can't give up my office because remember, most of the business involved in that business still continues as family owned. So usually there's no family members that are going to tell Uncle Joe he can't come in and walk the factory floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially in your scenario earlier where they sold leadership, they didn't sell ownership. Right. And so, that's
no sale. It's gifting.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so that's really, well, I didn't buy it. How can I tell them what they can or can't do? And then we talk about what is buying, because a lot of the next gens say to me, I've bought it because I've worked below market salary for the last 20 years.
Yeah. So that's my next question. So we've talked about the emotional side of the exiting generation. What about the incoming generation, the next generation?
So it is so complex. So I start with you, both generations or all three generations, sometimes I have three, are going through transitions. And if we don't start with the assumption of love, grace, and kindness, we're not going to accomplish this.
Yeah.
We have to have respect that all the initiative that you have, wanting to develop your credibility, your competency, and your relevancy is happening with these other two generations. They still want to be competent, credible, and relevant. Yeah. We're changing chairs. And you don't want to make mistakes and you don't want to ruin what they created. They don't want to become nothing, like just the guy sitting in a rocking chair on a porch. They want you to ask them questions. They want to trust you, but they're also trying to still be credible and relevant. And it's happening at the same time. And it's like standing on quicksand some days. And if we remember to ask who, what, why, and where with respect and kindness and grace, we can do this.
Yeah. Have you seen an incident? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's all the emotions that are going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It harkens back to when we were all teenagers, right? And all those crazy emotions that were going through our bodies. It's the same thing when you're in a transition in a company.
It is.
Have you seen a successful transition, yet the family unit ends up falling apart after?
But yeah, but I want to qualify what family unit falling apart means. Okay.
Well, just the family itself just fell apart after the whole transaction. You know, they
in family business, if it's a successful family business transaction, that doesn't happen. They would not coin that as successful, first of all. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I have had branches buy other branches out, or a family member say, I don't want to be here anymore, buy me out. Okay.
Yes.
And there is a natural separation of the daily contact that used to happen in the families, and they go to what, like my family does. You don't live in the same state. You see each other at Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? Or 4th of July. So it's more that versus seeing each other at work every single day, which is what happens with family business owners, right?
Yes.
So and then there are some times when a family member is very unhappy being part of the family business. They don't fit, they're not succeeding, and either they both decide it's not working and they sell, and there's a break, and it takes some time for family to resettle after that. That does happen too. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But, I do.
But if the family completely falls apart and they have nothing to do with each other anymore, that's not a successful family transfer. That's a disaster in my world.
Yeah. That was just a business transfer. That wasn't a successful family business transfer, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
And I want to point out one thing for your listeners. Probably 20 years ago, if a family sold their business to another party, that was a failure. That is not the case anymore. And I want all family business owners to know that if you sell your business to a non-family member, and you harvest wealth, because that's the right decision for this generation, that is successful.
Yeah.
You've chosen to take that wealth and deploy it in different ways. But a family business transfer is not just a job. It's a transfer of generational wealth. So if that wealth turns into dollars instead of an operating business, and you allow the next generation to go start their own businesses that look and feel different with the deployment of that generational wealth, it's still a success. Yeah. It's okay to do that. As a matter of fact, you should celebrate it.
Yep, that's for sure. Right. Because like 17% of the businesses that go on the market for sale actually sell. So whether it's into the same family or in a third party, celebrate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent. All right. One last question, Amy, as we start to wind down, and it is an action step. So from your perspective, what is one important action step that you recommend to business owners that they can take to maximize the value of their business?
Stop focusing on the top line sales number. Really focus on generating value of the business. Focus on the recasted EBITDA, focus on the net sales by multiples. Like focusing on the value today and creating decisions around increasing the value of your business prepares it for all transfers, including a family business transfer.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't want to give your kids and your grandkids a business that's debt and not going to succeed, because what you're doing is passing on an opportunity to fail, not an opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's what I work with companies all the time, right? We close that, the value gap, right? Wherever we are seeing that have some leakage of value in a company, we work on closing that gap. And so then you've got options, you've got the freedom you're looking for. Yeah. So, Amy, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It really has been invaluable. I always love these conversations every week. So I appreciate it.
Well, Amy, thank you for inviting me on your show. It's been enjoyable. And thank you to all the listeners. Hopefully you took at least one or two things away for yourselves. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. If this conversation surfaced a gap in your business, reach out and let us help you close it. This is the Maximize Business Value podcast, where we give practical business advice to owners on how to build long-term sustainable value in your business. Be sure to stay tuned each week and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single episode. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Maximize Business Value podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked new ideas on how you can continue driving value in your business. But remember, it's not just about listening. It's about taking massive action. Visit our website, masterypartners.com, for more resources. Grab a copy of any of the books in the Maximize Business Value series on Amazon or via the links below. And don't hesitate to reach out if you want to know how to apply these concepts to your business. So until next time, I'm Tom Bronson, reminding you to relentlessly execute while you maximize business value.